Previously, I talked about the root causes of the current economic crisis in America that won't be solved by federal stimulus programs. One aspect of our fundamentally flawed economy that I want to talk about today is the transition to a credit economy, which is responsible for mounting individual and government debt and results in a marketplace that sells style, image, and junk. My name is Michael A. Smith. I'm author of the book Naked America, which catalogs our many social, economic, and political myths and also recommends the real changes we really need in this country. For several decades, American businesses have gradually transformed the economy from one based on a monetary system to one based on credit. Why? A credit economy benefits the wealthy, whose income is derived from profits, manipulation of markets, interest rates as high as 20%, transaction fees, points, and late penalty payments. They earn without actually working. With revolving account credit cards, consumers, who collectively now owe about $3 trillion, can make purchases with near money they will earn hopefully in the short term. For heftier purchases such as cars, boats, and homes, long-term credit contracts bring into the marketplace faraway money that purchasers may earn in 7 to 30 years if they don't go broke or die first. In either case, the rich charge interest and a variety of creative fees. They have imbued money with a biological function. It now reproduces itself, but only for the rich who control the credit system. Increasingly, money is a fiction. Wages are electronic transfers of hypothetical money between employer and employee and employees and their creditors. At present, there is less than $1 trillion in U.S. coins and currency in circulation, although American workers collectively earn about $8 trillion annually. However, we the people spend nearly $10 trillion annually in the marketplace buying goods and services. Money seldom changes hands during these transactions, which are usually conducted with a credit or debit card. It all balances out when accountants transfer electronic figures within computer software programs from the debit to the credit column and vice versa. We only use real money for incidental purchases, such as a cup of coffee or a donut. Others spend cash in the $1 trillion underground economy of gambling, sex, drugs, guns, and stolen property. In my book, Naked America, I provide many details of our economic Alice in Wonderland world, in which the federal government's $1 trillion annual budget deficit, the $1 trillion 2009 stimulus package, the $1 trillion annual trade imbalance, and the $11 trillion national debt are exactly like monopoly money. There isn't remotely enough cash in circulation to conduct daily stock market transactions. For example, every time the New York Stock Exchange trades 1 billion shares per day, which happens frequently, the value of these shares exceeds $50 billion. At the end of 2005, the notional or imaginary value of all U.S. derivative contracts, i.e. futures and options, was nearly $100 trillion. One estimate of the nation's accumulated wealth, which includes land, buildings, homes, machinery, inventory, securities, and precious metals, puts it at $1,000 trillion. Where is all this money? Is it just out there somewhere, or is it increasingly just a fiction, a hypothetical accounting unit of the value that aids buying and selling? A technologically efficient marketplace soon produces most necessary goods and services, including food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Thereafter, producers and advertisers must persuade consumers to buy goods and services that are of marginal utility. The solution: sell style and image. Make people want what they don't necessarily need or can't even afford. Advertisers appeal to individual vanity or psychological susceptibility, or stimulate the herd instinct as they did in the marketing and selling of Apple's iPhone. Popular styles dictated by advertising and various trendsetters account for a significant percentage of our expenditures for clothing and shoes, cosmetics, perfume, over-the-counter medications and balms, and some prescriptions, including those that cure that pervasive national disease of erectile dysfunction. In fact, I maintain in my book, Naked America, that we could even apply this rule of style and image to determine need and price to otherwise seemingly essential purchases, including housing, bigger is better, cars, Alexis please, electronic equipment, Sony outperforms GE, education, an Ivy League degree yields a greater salary, food, brand names over generic, and even health expenditures. I can afford an MRI as opposed to an X-ray. It's apparently even more prestigious to be buried in a shiny metal casket that costs tens of thousands of dollars rather than be interred in a cheaper model or a wood box. Style and distinction even beyond the grave. Naked America provides many other examples of our junk economy. Notably, in a recent year, Americans spent nearly $600 billion during 7 national holidays, primarily to travel, vacation, or buy gifts, candy, greeting cards, decoration, fireworks, and costumes. The majority of retail stores couldn't survive without these guilt-induced holiday buying sprees. That same year, Americans spent about $250 billion on education and research. $600 billion for holiday junk, $250 billion for what life is really about. What a skewed sense of individual and national priorities. Advertisers have achieved in America what we always feared the communists would do to us: brainwash us into believing their ideology. We have, on the other hand, swallowed whole corporate America's ideology, which is that buying and having lots of stuff, especially high-priced brands, is what life is all about. Sad to say, it's become the American culture. A recent poll asked Americans ages 18 to 25 about their chief goal in life, and these were the results. 81% wanted to get rich, 51% wanted to become famous, and 22% wanted to become community leaders. Since these percentages add up to more than 100, most people want to be rich, famous, and tell other people what to do. The September 18, 2006 issue of Time magazine posed this cover question: does God want you to be rich? Of course He does. At least that's what the majority of American Christians believe, no matter the egalitarian message of the New Testament, in which Christ said rich people have about as much chance to get into heaven as a camel has of slipping through the eye of a needle. As explained in Naked America, this situation results from a deliberate perversion of language in which the wealthy have defined wealth as money, i.e. capital, or the physical items purchased with money. Listen carefully to this quotation. Quote, "Labor is prior to and independent of capital. Capital is the fruit of physical or intellectual labor and cannot exist otherwise. Labor is the superior of capital and deserves much the higher consideration." Close quote. Who said that? Abraham Lincoln in his inaugural address to Congress in December 1861. It's true today too. Our economy has been stood on its head. The least valuable members of the workforce make the most money. In my next presentation, I'll talk about a historical inevitability, which is economic equality, a concept explored in detail in my book, Naked America. Thanks for listening.